The story opens with Catherine in a tender moment with her son Nick. They're laughing, playing, and it feels like the kind of simple joy a mother lives for. But then it fades, and we realize it's not real. Nick isn't there. He died in a car accident when he was just 16, and now Catherine lives in the shadow of that loss, replaying the same memories over and over. Each time, the grief hits her like a fresh wound. Trying to pull herself out of the fog, Catherine remembers she and her husband Dale have dinner plans with their friends Connie and Jerry. At Connie's house, Catherine tries to act normal, but she's distant, distracted, her thoughts elsewhere. When Jerry serves her meat, she politely refuses, but Dale mocks her and dismisses her choice, like he always does. Connie jumps in with a joke to lighten the tension, but the damage is already done. That night, the pain catches up with Catherine. She drinks too much, sobs about Nick, and finally falls asleep in Dale's arms, though his comfort feels hollow. Across town, Jordy walks out of prison carrying nothing but a small bag. His father, Carl, picks him up, but the car ride is heavy with unspoken anger. Carl tells him Lisa, Carl's much younger wife, is waiting at home, but Jordy's face hardens. He despises her. At breakfast the next morning, Carl lectures Jordy about getting his life together, pushing him to find a job. Lisa, meanwhile, tries to play peacemaker, offering kindness, but Jordy shuts her down every time. He refuses to let her fill a mother's place. Catherine, meanwhile, is unraveling. She drags herself through her days, but her grief is everywhere. Dale lashes out at her, accusing her of ignoring their younger son Brady. Catherine rushes to get Brady ready for school, but then finds herself frozen at the spot where Nick's accident happened. Later, she clutches Nick's clothes in his room and breaks down. Brady watches quietly, wanting his mother back but not knowing how to reach her. When he asks to hang out with a friend, Catherine refuses, too fearful of letting him go. She's losing Brady too, without realizing it. Carl is juggling his own struggles. At work, he sees his patient Walter, a man drowning in guilt. Years ago, Walter was drunk driving when he crashed, injuring his autistic brother Dennis and killing a little boy in another car. The boy's death haunts him daily. At home, Walter's marriage is collapsing under the weight of his shame and anger. He and his wife Abby fight constantly until she finally snaps, smashing dishes, throwing food, and then begging for forgiveness. Walter stays cold. Abby eventually packs her bags and leaves, saying she can't live like this anymore. Lost and lonely, Walter latches onto Sherry, a former student who's now a news anchor. He watches her on TV with almost obsessive focus. When he finally takes her out, the night ends in disaster. He brings her home, but Dennis panics at the sight of her, slamming the door and covering his ears. Sherry is stunned, and though Walter explains Dennis's fragile state, she quietly pulls away. The hope he clung to shatters in an instant. Back in Jordy's world, he tries to make small steps forward. He applies for a job at a pizza shop, admitting to the manager that he stole a car in the past but wants a second chance. To his relief, he gets the job. Later, he meets up with Melissa, his old friend. She teases him about his prison time, but underneath the jokes, she shows real care. She urges him to see Catherine, Nick's mother, but Jordy refuses. He believes she'll never forgive him. When Catherine later spots him in a grocery store, her instinct is to hide, proving he's right. She's not ready to face him. At home, things shift between Jordy and Lisa. What begins as bitter exchanges soon turns into something more dangerous. One morning, Jordy bumps into Lisa fresh out of the shower, and the tension breaks. Desire takes over. They begin a secret affair. Lisa admits she feels trapped with Carl, who barely notices her anymore. She tells Jordy she's been lonely for years, and his return has awakened feelings she thought were gone. For Jordy, the affair is both thrilling and destructive, pulling him deeper into conflict with his father. Catherine, meanwhile, keeps stumbling. At lunch, she pressures Brady to play basketball like Nick did, but Brady pushes back, saying he doesn't want to live in his brother's shadow. Catherine cries, but Dale steps in, telling her she's hurting Brady by clinging to the past. When he sees her holding Nick's old basketball, he explodes, shouting that Nick is gone and she needs to let go. Both of them are grieving, but instead of pulling together, it's tearing them apart. Walter's world collapses further. He chases Sherry with flowers, begging her for another chance, but she's firm. She can't handle his baggage or Dennis's situation. Rejected, Walter spirals even deeper into despair. Meanwhile, Melissa spends more time with Jordy. She beams with pride when she sees him working at the pizza place, saying it feels like he's finally standing on his own 2 feet. One evening, while they're talking in his room, the subject of Nick comes up. Melissa's tone changes. With tears in her eyes, she admits she once loved Nick deeply and even dreamed of marrying him. The confession hits Jordy hard. The past he's tried to bury comes rushing back, stirring up grief, guilt, and emotions he doesn't know how to handle. Jordy leans in to kiss Melissa, but at that exact moment, Lisa walks in. Her face hardens with jealousy, and Melissa quickly introduces herself as Jordy's old classmate. Lisa doesn't believe it. Furious, she storms out, and Jordy, frustrated, tells Melissa to leave. Meanwhile, Catherine sinks deeper into regret, replaying how she always compared Brady to Nick. The next day, Walter visits with a young woman named Sylvie, who's been talking online with Dennis. Walter is wary, but Sylvie explains she only wants to help Dennis experience life outside. Later, Walter goes to Sherry's, but her boyfriend answers and violently attacks him. Sherry throws him out, tending to Walter instead. They spend the day together, sharing small joys, and Walter finally feels some peace. At the park, Jordy spends time with Melissa, pushing her on a swing. He admits being with her makes him feel calm. Back home, Lisa confronts him, trying to seduce him again, but Jordy refuses and walks away. That night, Jordy confides in Catherine, admitting he was Nick's closest friend and has carried guilt since the accident. He breaks down, but Catherine comforts him, confessing she too regrets not being closer to Nick. For the first time, they share their grief openly. Soon after, Catherine burns all of Nick's belongings, telling Dale she couldn't bear the reminders. She later apologizes to Brady for her harshness and decides they should leave for a while to heal. Dale begs her to stay, but she refuses, saying his coldness after Nick's death made it impossible for her to live with him. Meanwhile, Dennis bravely steps outside to meet Sylvie, taking his first real step into the world. At the same time, Walter admits his guilt to Catherine, but she rejects him in anger, leaving with Brady. Back at Jordy's house, Carl discovers his affair with Lisa and brutally attacks him. Jordy barely escapes, while Lisa rushes Carl to the hospital. In the end, Jordy boards a bus with Melissa, ready to start fresh. Dennis too finds hope, sitting in a cafe with Sylvie, smiling at the simple joy of finally being free. And that's where the story ends. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next video.